Widowed billionaire swore never to love again until a waitress cared for his paralyzed daughter. "Sir, your daughter is trying to breathe again. She's choking. Please let me help her." Those were the exact words that made the billionaire, Ethan Ward, the coldest man the city knew, snap his head up from the table he'd been silently eating at, his fork freezing in midair. His icy blue eyes narrowed, disbelief cutting across his hardened face like a blade. No one ever raised their voice at him. No one dared. But the young waitress who spoke, she wasn't afraid. Her name, no one remembered then. But that night, she was about to change everything. The restaurant fell into complete silence. Forks stopped mid-bite. People turned their heads. Phones hovered, people ready to record what they assumed would be a public explosion from a man known for firing executives in a single breath. Ethan's daughter, Lily, sat in her wheelchair beside him, her tiny 6-year-old body trembling, lips turning slightly pale. Paralyzed from the waist down after the crash that killed her mother, she rarely spoke, rarely moved, rarely reacted. But right now she was panicking. Her eyes watered. Her breaths were quick and shallow. And the waitress, this girl with messy brown hair tied back in a rush, wearing a name tag that simply read Mia, stood there, shaking but determined. "Please," she said again, louder this time, stepping forward with a napkin and a glass of water. "She needs help. Now." Ethan's jaw clenched. For 3 years, he had locked his heart away, his emotions buried beneath work, wealth, and the crushing guilt of losing his wife in the accident that also left his daughter unable to walk. He trusted no one. He let no one near. Especially not strangers. Especially not waitresses. But right now, his daughter's eyes widened with fear, and something inside him cracked. Just a little. "Tell me what you're trying to do," Ethan demanded sharply. Mia didn't step back. She didn't stutter. That alone shocked him. "She inhaled the steam from a hot soup," Mia said quickly. "Kids with paralysis sometimes lose muscle control in their throat. She's trying to breathe through her mouth, but she needs to calm down. I've seen this before with my younger brother." Her hands trembled, but her voice didn't. "If you let me help," she whispered, "I can calm her before she passes out." The restaurant watched, tension thick enough to choke on. Ethan stared at her for 3 seconds. 3 seconds that felt like a lifetime. Then he nodded. A billionaire, one of the harshest in the city, gave permission to someone who earned less in a month than he spent on a single tie. Mia crouched beside Lily, speaking softly, her voice like a gentle breeze. "Hey, sweetheart, you're okay. You're safe," she whispered. "Look at me, okay? Look at my eyes." And surprisingly, Lily did. Her small, trembling hand reached instinctively toward Mia's sleeve. "That's it," Mia soothed. "Slow breath in and out. I'm right here." The panic in Lily's face eased slowly. Her breathing steadied. Within moments, the entire restaurant exhaled with her. Ethan didn't breathe at all. His chest tightened, strangely unfamiliar with witnessing something so simple, yet so miraculous. When Lily relaxed, Mia smiled, a soft, natural smile that had warmth he hadn't seen in years. "You're safe now," she whispered to the little girl. Lily blinked. Then, shockingly, she mouthed a single word. "Thank you." Ethan froze. Lily barely spoke these days. But she spoke to her. The billionaire swallowed hard, something heavy rising inside him. Gratitude? Surprise? Fear? He didn't even know anymore. Mia quickly stood up, embarrassed by all the eyes staring at her. I'm sorry for interrupting your meal, sir. I just didn't want anything to happen to her." Ethan studied her carefully, his expression unreadable. "Who told you could touch my daughter?" he asked, his voice steady but cold. The restaurant gasped. People braced for the worst. Mia's face paled, but she didn't back down. "No one," she said quietly. "But if I hadn't, your daughter might have fainted." Ethan leaned back slowly, fingers steepled, eyes narrowed, not in anger, but in something deeper. "Do you always interfere with customers?" he asked. "Only when a child needs help," she replied. And that answer, it disarmed him more than he wanted to admit. Mia took a step back. "I won't disturb you again. I'm sorry." She turned away to leave, but Lily suddenly reached her small hand out again, trying to grab the air. A desperate, shaky gesture. Mia paused, turned back, kneeled again. "It's okay," she whispered, squeezing Lily's hand gently. Ethan watched stunned as his daughter, who hadn't connected with anyone since the accident, leaned slightly toward this waitress, as if she found something familiar, something comforting in her. As if she trusted her. Ethan cleared his throat. "What's your name?" She looked up, not expecting the question. Mia. Mia Hart. Hart. A fitting name. And you've handled this type of situation before? Mia nodded. My younger brother had nerve damage for years. I took care of him most of my childhood. I learned things. Ethan's jaw tightened. Something tugged inside him, something he fought. You have a medical background? He asked. No, she said, brushing hair from her face. Just life. And love. The restaurant whispered. Phones recorded quietly. Everyone could see it. Something invisible, powerful, and unexpected had shifted in the air. Ethan wasn't the type of man who allowed anyone near his heart. Not after losing his wife. Not after promising he'd never open himself again. But this waitress. She wasn't trying to impress him. She wasn't trying to flirt. She wasn't trying to get anything from him at all. She just cared. Naturally. Instinctively. Fearlessly. For the first time in a long time, something warm flickered in the billionaire's chest. A tiny spark, dangerous, fragile, unwanted, but undeniably real. Thank you, Ethan finally said, his voice lower, softer. Words he rarely spoke. Mia blinked in surprise. I'm glad she's okay, sir. She stood, ready to leave again. But Ethan's next words stopped her cold. Mia, he said, I would like you to stay close to our table for the rest of the evening. Mia swallowed. As a waitress. Ethan looked at his daughter, then at her. As someone my daughter trusts. And with that sentence, the story truly began. The restaurant slowly returned to its soft chatter, but something had shifted forever. People weren't eating anymore, they were pretending to. Their eyes kept drifting toward the billionaire and the young waitress who had somehow managed to break through the wall he'd built around himself. Mia stood by a respectful distance, close enough for Lily to see her, far enough to not intrude. Her hands were shaking slightly, not from fear, but from disbelief. She had no idea why this billionaire wanted her to remain nearby. She wasn't special. She was just a waitress who worked double shifts to pay off medical bills from her brother's old surgeries. But to Lily, she was the first face in years that didn't scare her. Ethan noticed that. More importantly, he felt it. Lily kept glancing up at Mia, her eyes soft, curious, almost hopeful. That alone made Ethan feel something he wasn't ready to confront. He cleared his throat, pretending to read the menu he'd memorized years ago. Would you like something else to eat? Ethan asked his daughter gently. Lily blinked twice, her sign for yes. Then she glanced at Mia again. Ethan followed her gaze. Sighing, he turned to the waitress. Mia, he said quietly, perhaps you can help her choose something she'll enjoy. Mia stepped closer, kneeling, so she was eye level with the little girl. You like something sweet or something warm? She asked softly. Lily hesitated, then tapped the table twice, another yes gesture. Something warm, Mia interpreted with a smile. Soup? Chicken? Maybe soft pasta. Lily raised one tiny finger. Pasta. Got it, Mia said warmly. I'll bring it right away. As she walked away, Ethan found himself watching her. Not because she was attractive, though she was. Not because she had confidence, though she did. But because she was gentle. Something he had forgotten existed. A man in a tailored suit approached Ethan's table, clearing his throat loudly. He was tall, smug-looking, and clearly wealthy. Mr. Ward, he said, smiling too confidently, is that the waitress who interrupted your dinner? Should I call the manager? Women like her need to learn their place. Ethan looked up slowly, and the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. No, Ethan said, voice sharp as glass. You will not speak about her like that. The man blinked, stunned. But sir, she overstepped. People like her. People like her, Ethan interrupted, save children's lives. People like you should learn respect. The man's mouth fell open. A few phones discreetly recorded the moment. The stranger huffed and walked away, humiliated. Ethan didn't care. He was too busy watching Mia return with the pasta, steam rising gently from the plate. She placed it carefully in front of Lily. It's soft and warm, good for breathing, okay? Lily gave a small nod. Then something shocking happened. She reached out and touched Mia's hand again. Not by accident. Intentionally. Trustingly. And Mia froze. Her eyes softened. Lily smiled, a tiny, fragile smile Ethan hadn't seen in almost 2 years. Ethan's throat tightened. He hadn't seen Lily smile since before the accident. For a moment, he forgot how to breathe. Would you like me to feed her? Mia asked, gently polite. No, Ethan said quickly. I can do that. But when he tried, Lily turned her face away. Then she looked at Mia again. That hurt Ethan more than he expected, but he hit it with a steady voice. "Mia," he said quietly, "would you mind?" "Of course not," she replied. And there it was, one of the most fragile, painful, beautiful moments Ethan had ever lived through. The billionaire watched a stranger feed his daughter. Not a nurse, not a doctor, not a therapist paid thousands per hour. A waitress, who cared without being told to, who understood without being taught, who comforted without expecting a reward. Mia noticed Ethan watching and spoke softly. "Kids don't respond to money, sir. They respond to warmth." Ethan flinched slightly at the truth of it. She didn't mean it as an insult, but it struck him like a blade. He watched his daughter relax deeper into her chair, her breathing slow, her eyes brighter, the tension in her small hands easing every time Mia spoke. He hadn't seen her this calm in years. "Mia," he said quietly after a long moment, "do you work every night?" "Almost," she replied. "Double shifts mostly." "Why?" he asked. Mia hesitated, and that hesitation told him everything. She didn't want to talk about herself. She wasn't someone who used sympathy for attention. "I'm saving for something important," she answered with a small smile. "College?" Ethan guessed. "No," she said softly, looking away. "Something else." Before he could ask what, Lily tapped Mia's arm, wanting another bite. The simplicity of it, the purity in that tiny gesture. It shook Ethan in ways he wasn't ready to admit. Minutes passed. People kept staring. The restaurant felt different now, like something extraordinary was quietly unfolding at one table, and everyone could feel it. Mia finished feeding Lily, and gently wiped her mouth. "You okay now, sweetheart?" she asked. Lily nodded, and leaned her small head slightly toward Mia's shoulder, exhausted but comforted. Mia smiled, and touched her hair lightly. "You're so strong. You know that." Lily closed her eyes, resting. Ethan swallowed hard. She hasn't let anyone touch her like that since." His voice faded. He didn't need to finish. "Since her mother died. Since the accident that destroyed their world." Mia looked up at him. Her eyes softened, not with pity, but with something warm. Something understanding. "Trauma doesn't fade with time," she whispered. "It fades with trust." Ethan looked at her for a long moment. Then he said something he had never said to any stranger ever. "I want to hire you." Mia froze. What do you mean?" Ethan didn't blink. "I want you to take care of my daughter." Mia's heart thundered. The restaurant gasped. Even Lily opened her eyes, surprised. Mia stepped back. "Sir, I'm just a waitress. I'm not qualified." "You're exactly what she needs," Ethan said firmly. "Warmth, patience, humanity, things I can't buy." Mia didn't answer. She didn't know what to say. But before she could speak, Lily reached up and grabbed her hand. The billionaire's heart cracked open just a little more. And that was the moment Mia realized her life was about to change forever. For a long moment, Mia just stood there frozen, Lily's tiny hand wrapped around hers, Ethan's intense eyes fixed on her. She couldn't think, couldn't breathe. It felt surreal, like someone had paused the world just to wait for her answer. But Ethan Ward was not a man known for waiting. "I'm offering you a position," he said calmly, not out of impulse, but because you're the first person she's responded to in years. "Sir," Mia whispered, shaking slightly, I don't think I'm the right person. I'm not trained. I'm not a therapist. I'm not even experienced." "You helped her breathe," Ethan replied softly. "No certification beats that." Mia swallowed. Hard. Because deep down, she knew what he was asking wasn't small. It wasn't a temporary favor. It wasn't a part-time side job. He wanted her to step into a broken family's life. Into a world that held more pain than she could imagine. A world full of expectations she wasn't prepared for. And she wasn't sure she was ready. Lily tugged her hand again, her eyes pleading. Not for words, not for explanations, but for presence. Mia's heart twisted. Ethan exhaled. "Look," he said more gently than before, "I understand your hesitation. But I'm not asking you to be a professional caregiver. I'm asking you to be someone my daughter feels safe with." "But why me?" Mia whispered. "Because she smiled for you," Ethan said, voice tightening, almost breaking. "And she hasn't smiled in 2 years." The sentence hit Mia straight in the chest. 2 years without a smile. 2 years of silence, trauma, confusion. 2 years without warmth. "Please think about it," Ethan continued. "Not now. Take time. I won't pressure you." He was lying. Not intentionally. But Ethan Ward was a man who never asked for anything twice. And yet here he was asking. Mia nodded slowly, unsure. I'll think about it. Lily squeezed her hand again, so softly but so desperately that Mia almost changed her mind on the spot. But she needed space. She needed clarity. She needed to breathe. I should get back to work, she whispered. My manager will be upset if I stay here too long. Before Ethan could respond, a loud voice cut in. Mia. Her manager, Mr. Collins, stormed across the restaurant, face red, sweat collecting at his temples. I told you to serve table 7 10 minutes ago. What are you? He stopped when he noticed Ethan and Lily. The billionaire turned his cold, sharp gaze on him. The manager's face drained of color instantly. Sir. Mr. Ward. I didn't realize. You didn't realize what? Ethan asked, voice dangerously calm. That she was helping your family, of course, Collins stuttered, fake smile plastered on. Mia stepped forward quickly. Mr. Collins, it's okay, I'm coming. No, Ethan interrupted. She stays here. Collins blinked. Sir, with all due respect, she's an employee. She needs to. She just saved my daughter from a panic-induced respiratory episode, Ethan said coolly. And unless you want your restaurant trending for the wrong reasons tomorrow morning, I suggest you show her some respect. Phones rose immediately. People started recording. The manager began sweating even more. Oh, of course, Collins stammered. Mia can stay here as long as needed. He scurried away, terrified. Mia turned to Ethan, cheeks burning. You didn't have to do that. Actually, I did, Ethan replied. People shouldn't speak to you that way. Mia didn't know how to respond. No one defended her like that. Not in years. She stood there quietly until Lily lightly tugged again. Mia knelt beside her. What is it, sweetheart? She asked. Lily pointed at her own drawing pad lying in her lap, something Mia hadn't noticed earlier. It was filled with scratchy little doodles, circles and lines, and shapes Mia couldn't quite understand. But Lily pointed at an empty page, then at Mia. Ethan blinked. She wants to draw you. Mia's lips parted in surprise. Me? Lily nodded shyly. Mia smiled. Okay, but you need to teach me how to pose. The little girl giggled, an actual tiny giggle, and everyone around them froze as if they'd just witnessed a miracle. Ethan nearly dropped his fork. A giggle. From his daughter. He felt something physically ache inside him. Yes, Ethan whispered, voice thick. Draw her. Lily grabbed her crayon and began sketching with surprising focus. Mia sat beside her, patient and quiet. Ethan watched them like a man watching a miracle unfold in slow motion. 2 years of therapists. 2 years of specialists. 2 years of expensive treatments. None had done in 15 minutes what this waitress had done just by existing near his daughter. It was humbling. It was terrifying. It was hopeful. When Lily finished, she held up the drawing proudly. The picture was messy, but the message was clear, a little stick girl with long hair holding hands with a smaller girl in a wheelchair. Mia's heart melted. It's beautiful, she whispered. Lily smiled again. Ethan swallowed the lump in his throat. It's perfect. Mia looked up at him, her expression soft. She's very talented. She used to draw with her mother, Ethan murmured. The pain in his voice was unmistakable. Mia hesitated, then said gently, she remembers love through art. That's why she drew us together. Ethan's breath caught. The way Mia said it, it didn't feel like comfort. It felt like truth. Before he could respond, Lily began rubbing her eyes, exhausted. She's tired, Mia said. She needs rest. Ethan nodded. I'll take her home. He lifted his daughter with care, her small head resting on his shoulder. For a moment, Mia saw something she never thought she'd see. A broken father trying desperately to heal his daughter, even if he didn't know how. Ethan turned to Mia. Will you walk us to the car? Mia hesitated. Is that okay? Yes, he said softly. For Lily. They walked through the restaurant, everyone watching silently as the world's coldest billionaire walked beside a waitress who had somehow thawed both him and his daughter in one evening. Outside, Ethan opened the door of a sleek black SUV. He gently strapped Lily in, brushing her hair from her face. She blinked sleepily at Mia, raising her hand for a tiny wave. Mia waved back, heart squeezing painfully. Ethan closed the door and turned toward her. Mia, he said quietly, I meant what I said earlier. Think about my offer. She nodded slowly. I will. And, Ethan added, whether you accept or not, thank you. Mia looked down, trying to steady her voice. You're welcome, sir. For a moment, they just stood there, two strangers connected by a child's fragile trust. Then Ethan got into the SUV and drove away, the headlights fading into the night. Mia stood alone under the restaurant sign, the cold evening breeze brushing her face, her heart pounding with a mixture of fear, hope, and something she couldn't name. But one thing was clear. Her life wasn't going to be the same after tonight. And neither was Ethan's. Mia didn't sleep that night. She lay awake in her small, dimly lit room above her aunt's old laundromat, staring at the ceiling while the echoes of the night replayed again and again. Lily's soft giggle. Ethan's trembling voice. That drawing, two girls holding hands. And then his offer. I want you to take care of my daughter. The words felt heavy, too heavy for someone like her. By morning, her eyes were tired but her mind wide awake. She made a cup of instant coffee, stared at her reflection in the cracked mirror, and whispered, "What am I supposed to do?" But there was no answer, just silence. She put on her uniform, grabbed her bag, and walked to work. The cold morning air wrapped around her like a warning. Today would be different. Everyone had seen what happened last night. Everyone had recorded it, and that terrified her. When she walked into the diner, conversations stopped mid-sentence. People stared, some with curiosity, others with envy, and a few with recognition, because her face had been circulating on local social media overnight. Her colleague Jenna rushed to her. "Girl, you're trending." Mia's heart dropped. Trending? Yes. Jenna pulled out her phone. "Look, Waitress saves Billionaire's daughter. There are like thousands of shares." Mia's stomach twisted. This wasn't what she wanted. She didn't want attention. She didn't want praise. She didn't want to be known for something she didn't even plan. "I didn't save anyone," she muttered. "I just helped." "Well, the world thinks otherwise," Jenna said. "Oh, and Mr. Collins is acting like he's your biggest fan now. Hypocrite." Mia cringed. As she tied her apron, the bell over the entrance chimed. She didn't need to look up. Somehow she knew. Ethan Ward walked in, sharp suit, crisp coat, and that same calm intensity that made every person in the diner stand straighter. Conversations died instantly. All eyes moved toward him, but he wasn't looking at anyone else. He was looking directly at her. "Mia," he said quietly. Her breath caught. "Mr. Ward, what are you doing here?" "I came to see if you'd made a decision," he replied. "Decision?" Collins appeared out of nowhere, smiling too hard. "Is there anything we can do for you today, sir?" Ethan didn't even blink. "I'm not speaking to you." Collins' smile collapsed. Mia's cheeks warmed. Why did he do that? Why did he always defend her like it was instinct? "Mia," Ethan continued, "may I speak to you outside? Just for a moment." She hesitated, glancing at Jenna, who mouthed, "Go." So she followed him out. The morning was cold. The parking lot was empty. And yet Mia felt like her heartbeat was too loud for the silence between them. Ethan turned to face her, his expression softer than she'd ever seen. "Lily asked for you this morning." The words hit her like a pulse of warmth and guilt at the same time. "She woke up reaching out, thinking you were there," Ethan said, looking away briefly. "I've never seen her do that for anyone, not even her old nurses." Mia's throat tightened. I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything yet." He paused. "But I want you to see her. Today. Spend an hour with us. If you want. No pressure." No pressure? There was nothing but pressure. But her chest warmed at the thought of Lily asking for her, wanting her, trusting her. I have my shift," Mia said quietly. Ethan's lips curved ever so slightly. "Already handled." "What?" He nodded toward the diner windows. Collins was inside waving awkwardly, signaling she could go. She nearly groaned. "You didn't have to do that," Mia whispered. "No," Ethan replied gently. "But I wanted to." She looked down. "I don't want to lose my job." "You won't," he assured. "And if you do, you'll have a better one." The sincerity in his voice hit her like a shock. He wasn't flirting. He wasn't manipulating. He was telling the truth. "Please, Mia," he said, stepping closer. "Come with me. Just for 1 hour." 1 hour. She could do 1 hour, right? She nodded slowly. "Okay." Ethan exhaled as if releasing a weight he'd held for years. "Thank you." The ride to his estate was silent but not awkward. Ethan drove smoothly, hands steady on the wheel. Mia sat beside him, unsure where to place her hands. She finally looked up. "Your home must be huge." Ethan didn't smile. "It used to feel empty. Now it feels worse." Her heart softened. "Because of Lily?" Because everything in it reminds me of what I lost, he answered quietly. And what I failed to protect. Mia didn't respond. She couldn't. His pain felt too heavy to touch. When they reached the gates, she understood what he meant. The place was enormous, beautiful, immaculate, but cold, too cold, like a museum of a life that had been perfect once. As they entered, a housekeeper approached with a polite nod. "Good morning, Mr. Ward." "Where is she?" Ethan asked. "In the sunroom. She's been waiting." Waiting. The word stung Mia in a strange, unexpected way. Ethan led her down a hallway lined with portraits, a younger Ethan, a beautiful dark-haired woman, and a little Lily, before the accident. Smiling, running, alive. Mia's chest tightened. They reached the sunroom. Ethan took a breath, pushed the door open, and there she was. Lily sat in her wheelchair, holding the drawing she'd made last night. Her eyes lifted the moment Mia stepped inside. Her entire face lit up. She extended both arms toward Mia, the universal gesture of "come here." Mia's heart broke and healed at the same time. "Oh, sweetheart," she whispered, rushing to her. Lily hugged her tightly, so tightly it surprised both adults in the room. "Mia," Ethan said softly behind them, his voice almost trembling. "She's never done that. Not since." He couldn't finish. Mia knelt beside Lily, brushing her hair, softly. "I missed you too." Lily pointed at her drawing again, then at the empty chair next to her. She wanted Mia to sit. "Stay. Do you want to draw again?" Mia asked. Lily nodded excitedly. As she pulled out crayons and paper, Ethan watched them, something in his eyes shifting, softening, breaking, healing. Mia noticed. "You okay?" she asked him quietly. Ethan blinked. "I don't know what's happening, but whatever it is, thank you." Mia swallowed. "She's just a child who needs comfort." "No," Ethan whispered. "She needs you." The room fell silent. Lily reached out and placed Mia's hand onto Ethan's. Mia froze. Ethan froze. Lily simply smiled. A child's instinct. A daughter's longing. A silent bridge between two broken adults. Ethan slowly pulled his hand back, clearing his throat. He wasn't ready for that. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But Lily's message was clear. And Mia felt it in her bones. She wasn't stepping into a job. She was stepping into a family, still bleeding, still grieving, still searching for something they had lost. Hope. And maybe, just maybe, she was the missing piece. The restaurant was buzzing again, but this time it wasn't because of drama. It was because news travels fast in a small town, and everyone had heard what happened. Some people came hoping to meet the billionaire owner, who humbled for arrogant rich men. Others came out of curiosity, wanting to see the waitress who stood up for herself even when she thought she had no one behind her. And then there were those who came simply because for once, justice had been served right where everyone could see it. Maya stepped inside the restaurant with a nervous breath. This morning felt different. For once she didn't feel small, invisible, or like someone people could walk over. She felt important. Not because a billionaire had defended her, not because the rich men had been exposed, but because she finally realized her own worth. Still, she didn't know what today would bring. As she entered, the entire staff paused. For a second she froze, thinking she had done something wrong again. But then, clap, clap, clap. The chefs started applauding. Then the busboys. Then the entire staff joined in. The restaurant filled with warm, thunderous applause, and Maya felt her throat tighten with emotion. Why are you all clapping?" she whispered, embarrassed. The manager stepped forward, not with the usual irritated expression he wore when speaking to her, but with genuine respect softening his voice. "Because, Maya, you showed strength yesterday. You handled yourself with dignity. And because Mr. Dalton left a message for you." Her heart skipped. "Hey, Andrew." The billionaire Andrew Dalton, one of the new servers, squeaked. Before Maya could ask again, the manager handed her a sealed envelope. Heavy paper, embossed with the Dalton Corporation logo. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter. "Maya, you showed the world something rare. Kindness without weakness, strength without arrogance. People like you deserve more than the world gives. Today, I want to change that. There's a position I'd like to offer you, not here, not anywhere small, but with my company. Something that uses your real gifts. Come by my office at noon. And don't worry, everything will make sense soon. Andrew." Maya gasped softly. Her mind spun. She had never imagined working for a billionaire, not even remotely. She had barely finished community college. She had zero corporate experience. Why would he want her? Her co-workers stared with wide eyes. Girl, you're about to be rich, one whispered dramatically. Maya laughed through the anxiety swelling in her chest. I don't know about rich, but I hope I don't mess it up. You won't, the chef assured. You're the strongest person here. At noon, Maya walked into the towering glass building that housed Dalton Industries. The security guard stood up the moment he saw her. You must be Maya, he said respectfully. Mr. Dalton told us to escort you up immediately. She followed him to a private elevator with polished golden rails and soft music playing inside. Her hands refused to stay still. Every nerve felt alive. When the doors opened, she stepped into an office unlike anything she'd ever seen, floor-to-ceiling windows, a view of the entire city, and Andrew Dalton himself standing by his desk with a warm smile. There you are, he said gently. I'm glad you came. I wasn't sure if I was dreaming, she admitted. He chuckled. I don't blame you. Yesterday was dramatic. She blushed. Thank you. For everything. You didn't have to do any of it. He shook his head. Maya, I didn't do it for you. I did it because it was the right thing to do. And because people like those 4 men think they can walk over anyone who looks like they have no power. But you have something they don't. And I want to cultivate that. She blinked, confused. What do you mean? Andrew walked to his desk, opened a folder, and handed it to her. Look inside. She opened it, then gasped. Her name. Her information. A job offer. Position, Community and Employee Relations Officer starting salary, $145,000 benefits, full. I don't understand, she whispered, voice trembling. I'm just a waitress. No, he said firmly. You're empathetic, patient, respectful, calm under pressure, and you know how to talk to people. You resolved the conflict yesterday that even trained managers couldn't handle. You showed leadership, real leadership. But I don't have the education. Maya, most degrees teach theory. You already have the skill. I'll handle the training. All I ask is that you trust yourself. Her eyes filled. Andrew, I don't know what to say. Say yes, he smiled. But before she could respond, the office door burst open. It was them, the 4 rich men. They looked nothing like the arrogant bullies from yesterday. They were pale, sweating, and their expensive suits seemed to droop on their bodies. One of them stepped forward with forced politeness. Mr. Dalton, sir, we wanted to apologize. We acted out of character. It was a misunderstanding. Andrew's expression didn't soften. A misunderstanding, he repeated coldly. You humiliated a woman doing her job. You threatened her. You laughed at her. And now you want to rewrite it because you know the consequences. The men's faces tightened. Maya remained silent, standing behind Andrew. One of them cleared his throat nervously. If you drop the charges, we'll donate to your foundation. We'll sign whatever settlement you want. Just please. Andrew didn't speak for a long moment. Then he said quietly, too quietly, I'm not the person who needs your apology. All 4 men turned slowly toward Maya. The silence was suffocating. Maya looked at them, feeling a strange calm settle over her. Something she never felt around rich, intimidating people. Say what you came to say, she said softly. They apologized. Awkwardly. Half-heartedly. Uncomfortably. But they said it. And Maya didn't smile. She didn't cry. She simply nodded and said, I forgive you. But don't ever treat anyone like that again. Andrew watched her, visibly impressed. When the men finally left, he turned to her with pride in his eyes. That, he said, is exactly why I want you on my leadership team. She wiped her eyes, her voice shaking. Then, yes, I accept the job. Andrew exhaled with relief. Welcome aboard, Maya. In that moment, as sunlight poured into the office and the city glittered below, Maya realized something powerful. Life doesn't change in big leaps. It changes in moments, moments of courage, moments of truth, moments when you refuse to let the world make you small. And in a single day, a waitress became a leader. A victim became a voice. And 4 rich men learned a lesson they would never forget. The next morning, Maya woke with a strange mix of excitement and disbelief swirling inside her chest. She had barely slept. Her mind kept replaying everything. Andrew's offer, the apology from the 4 rich men, the applause from her co-workers. For years, life had been a constant climb uphill. Suddenly, the ground felt level, almost like it was pulling her forward rather than holding her back. She stood in front of her bathroom mirror, smoothing her hair and adjusting the simple blouse she'd ironed 3 times already. Today was her first day at Dalton Industries. And although her hands trembled, her heart beat with a strength she hadn't felt in a long time. Maybe ever. As she stepped outside her small apartment, she noticed a black SUV parked near the curb. The windows were tinted, and for a split second, she wondered if something was wrong. But then the driver stepped out and nodded respectfully. "Ms. Coleman?" he asked. "Yes. I'm James. Mr. Dalton sent me to pick you up." Her breath hitched. He didn't need to do that. He insisted, the driver replied with a smile. Inside the SUV, the leather seats were soft and warm, and for a moment Maya forgot all her anxiety. She looked out the window as the city passed by, the morning rush, students running to catch buses, shopkeepers opening their doors. She had lived in this city her whole life, but today she felt like she was seeing it for the first time. When the SUV pulled up to Dalton Industries, several employees were walking in. She noticed people turning their heads, whispering, looking at her. A few even smiled warmly. The rumors had clearly spread. The driver opened the door for her. "Good luck, Ms. Coleman." "Thank you," she whispered, stepping out. Inside, the lobby buzzed with activity. The marble floors reflected the bright sunlight pouring in from the glass walls. She could hear soft music playing in the background. Everything felt expensive, professional, and intimidating, but in a strange way, welcoming. Within moments, a tall woman in a charcoal gray suit approached her. "You must be Maya," she said with a bright smile. "I'm Elaine, Chief of Staff. Andy told me to personally escort you." "Andy?" Maya blinked. Elaine laughed. "Trust me, he hates when people call him Mr. Dalton. In this building, he's just Andy." That alone made Maya breathe a little easier. Elaine guided her to a conference room with floor-to-ceiling windows. Inside were folders, notebooks, and a welcome kit with her name printed in gold letters. "I made this for you," Elaine said, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You're going to do great here." Maya swallowed back a wave of emotion. "Thank you. I hope I don't disappoint anyone." Elaine squeezed gently. "You won't. Andy doesn't bring people into his core circle unless he sees something exceptional." Before Maya could respond, the door opened. Andrew walked in, coffee cup in hand, sleeves rolled up, tie slightly loose like he'd been working for hours already. "There she is," he said warmly. "Ready for day one?" "I think so," she said with a nervous laugh. "No thinking. You are ready." He gestured for her to sit. "Let's talk about what your role really is." Maya nodded, listening intently as Andrew explained. "You're not here because you're a corporate machine," he said. "I have enough of those. You're here because you understand people, deeply. I want you to help rebuild our employee relations department. We've grown fast, and not all the corners are smooth. I need someone with heart." "Heart," Maya repeated softly. "Yes. Companies forget that people are people. You reminded me of that yesterday." She looked down, humbled. "I just did what felt right." "Exactly," Andrew said. "And that's why you belong here." The rest of the morning flew by in a blur. She met department heads, visited training rooms, toured the employee lounge, and even sat in on a small strategy meeting. Everyone seemed curious about her, who she was, why the billionaire owner seemed so invested in her, but their curiosity was wrapped in respect, not doubt. Around lunchtime, as she walked through the cafeteria with a salad tray in hand, she spotted a familiar group of people staring at her. Her restaurant co-workers. What are you guys doing here?" Maya asked, shocked. The chef stepped forward. "We came to see the place that poached our best employee," he joked, grinning. The busboys laughed and hugged her. Maya felt tears sting her eyes. "You didn't have to come." "We wanted to," the manager said, "to say congratulations. And to tell you something else." She tilted her head. "What?" "You won't believe it," he said. "Business tripled after what happened. People love the restaurant now. They want to know where you worked. Your story brought us customers from all over." Maya gasped. "Are you serious?" "Dead serious. Morning rush, night rush, we've never been busier. And guess what else? The owner wants to offer you a partnership." Maya nearly dropped her tray. "A what?" "A percentage of a restaurant," he clarified. "He said no one has brought this place more value than you." Her mind spun. This can't be real. But it was. All of it. Before she could process the news, her phone buzzed. A notification from Instagram. She clicked it. Her heart stopped. A video of her confrontation with the rich men, recorded by a customer, had gone viral. Millions of views. Thousands of comments. People calling her brave. People calling her an inspiration. People sharing her story across the world. Her hands shook. "You're trending globally," the chef whispered behind her. Maya stared at the screen, tears filling her eyes. Not tears of fear. Not humiliation. Tears of pride. For once in her life, people didn't pity her. They admired her. Before she could respond, Andrew appeared behind her, having followed her into the cafeteria. "Looks like the world finally sees what I saw," he said softly. She turned to him. "I don't know how to handle all this." "You don't have to handle it alone," Andrew replied. "Not anymore." His voice was warm, steady, reassuring. Then, unexpectedly, he added, "And Maya, there's one more thing." Her breath caught. What is it?" He reached into his pocket and handed her a second envelope. "What's this?" "A scholarship fund," he said. "In your name. For women who went through what you went through. You inspired it." Maya's heart cracked open. "Andrew, why me?" "Because you didn't just stand up to 4 rich men. You stood up to the world. And now the world is standing with you." Maya swallowed hard as emotion surged inside her. She realized something then, something life-changing. You don't have to be rich to change lives. You don't have to be powerful to inspire millions. You just have to be brave enough to be kind, strong enough to stand your ground, and humble enough to accept the blessings that follow. And in that moment, surrounded by co-workers, embraced by new opportunities, guided by a billionaire who believed in her, Maya understood one truth. Her story wasn't ending. It was just beginning.